Here's Chief Meteorologist Lee Haywood with your Storm Track 3 forecast.
Tonight, high pressure is building to the east as a storm system over portions of the Mississippi River Valley heads our way. But in the meantime, skies are mostly cloudy. The temperatures are about as low as they're going to go because those temperatures will be rising overnight as a warm front passes by. Most areas are mid-40s to around 50 right now. And for the rest of the night, partly to mostly cloudy skies, rain-free weather, rising temperatures into the mid-50s by daybreak. We soar into the 70s tomorrow, but a chance for rain by tomorrow night. More on that coming up. Your news at 11 starts right now.
You're watching WWA1 News at 11.
Which is like the main lesson I think learned in skating is you get back up. Keep on trying, and even when it's hard, you get back up.
Tonight on WWAY News at 11, figure skating star Nancy Kerrigan mourns skaters killed in the D.C. plane crash. Plus, a local school district addresses rumors of raids on undocumented immigrants in the county, what they're doing to adjust to changes in federal policy, and why a new Hanover County commissioner is speaking out against diversity, equity, and inclusion policies. Thanks for joining us tonight for your news at 11. I'm Jeff Rivenbart. People across the country and around the globe are mourning the loss of 67 people who died when a commercial airline jet collided midair with a U.S. Army helicopter last night. Among the dead, 14 members of the skating community. Former Olympic skater Nancy Kerrigan sharing her support to anyone who was affected by the tragedy.
But I feel for the athletes, the skaters, their families, but anyone that was on that plane, not just the skaters, because it's just such a tragic event. And we've been through tragedies before as Americans, as people, and we are strong. And I guess it's how we respond to it.
And this tragic event is similar to another accident in 1961 when all members of the U.S. figure skating team died on a plane crash in Belgium when headed to the World Championships in Prague. Back in the Cape Fear, WWA's Keelan Berrien went to a memorial in New Hanover County tonight where much of the focus was on some of the passengers on board the jet that crashed in D.C. last night.
This guy I used to follow on TikTok, his name was Spencer Lane. I saw his name on there and my heart dropped. It was so sad. He was like one of my skating role models.
Imagine being on Earth 1 minute and then within a flash, you're gone the next.
That could happen to anyone.
It's what these young skaters Chloe Pearson and Alyssa Escalera said after seeing Flight 5342 crash Wednesday night.
It's not fun to hear about. I'm definitely really upset about it.
And inside the Ogden Business Park at Polar Ice Wilmington, the figure skating community mourns, not just for the crash itself, but also the 67 lives lost, including well-known figure skaters aboard.
I think like people I know, like my coach, she's so amazing and so talented. And I think about like her, like what if she was on that plane?
A candlelit visual stands in the lobby, shining a light on the lives lost. Wednesday night, a disastrous crash happened mid-air between American Eagle Flight 5342 and a Black Hawk helicopter while approaching a runway at Regan National Airport near Washington, D.C. The plane was coming from Wichita, Kansas. 67 people died. On board were two well-known Russian figure skaters who were returning from development camp in Wichita.
You look online, there's, the U.S. figure skating's posting, everyone is posting and is just offering their condolences in the best way they can for the time being, and it's really impacting everyone.
So for now, the skating world continues to mourn, holding on to the swirling memories of those who left us too soon. The light of their legacy will continue to shine both in the rink and in the hearts of those who love them. Keelan Berrien, WWAY News.
And we're learning more about the PSA Airlines flight that was flying from Kansas to Washington, D.C. last night. The 4 members of the crew were based in Charlotte. PSA Airlines is a regional carrier of American Airlines and operates under the brand. The victims from the Charlotte area include Captain Jonathan Campos, Samuel Lilly, Ian Epstein, Wendy Schaefer, and Danasia Elder. Despite normal operations at Charlotte Douglas for much of the day, the airport is a hub for American Airlines, and the situation is affecting crews there. And some flights from Charlotte to Regan National Airport were delayed or canceled today. As investigators work to determine the cause of that tragic crash, reactions are coming in from across the country. We spoke with one person in the Cape Fear with a unique aviation connection to Washington. Howie Franklin was the chief flight attendant aboard Air Force One for 5 presidents. He says the crash could have come down to an endless number of factors, including sleep, human error, mechanical malfunctions, and lack of visibility, but that it will take months before investigators have any solid answers.
Very big tragedy in an airspace that it's a miracle is not more than that. With all the traffic, you consider all the traffic that goes in and out of that area.
Franklin also notes that military aircraft like the Black Hawk helicopter that was part of the crash aren't required to have the same radar capabilities that civilian aircraft do. Officials charged with leading recovery efforts in western North Carolina after Hurricane Helene have told state lawmakers they need more money. The governor's recovery office for western North Carolina is asking Washington to provide more funds for recovery in a future funding bill met to address California wildfires. State officials also want money from the General Assembly in Raleigh, not just for western North Carolina, but to also complete construction on more than 1,100 homes damaged by Hurricane Matthew in 2026 and Hurricane Florence in 2018. Lawmakers like Brendan Jones of Columbus County have called the work in the east slow, inefficient, and unacceptable. Today, the leader of the Office of Recovery and Resiliency, which was created by former Governor Roy Cooper after Florence, acknowledged mistakes by the office during its management of housing recovery. Burgal Mayor Olivia Dawson spoke in western North Carolina tonight with other mayors and other local officials about her experience dealing with recent flooding here in eastern North Carolina, as well as our recovery efforts after Matthew and Florence. Dawson is part of the National Member Advisory Board for the American Flood Coalition. She says the damage in the western part of the state reminds her of the damage people in her town and county dealt with.
It was devastating. I mean, really touches on you can relate because you've had similar instances in our area in eastern North Carolina, but also to the degree or the devastation what they had is also very painful to see.
Dawson also says this is her first visit to the western part of the state in more than a year. There is some good news in western North Carolina. McDowell County Emergency Management confirms that the Crooked Creek fire, which burned 220 acres, is now 100% contained. There were no reported injuries or fatalities, but the fire did damage one home and destroyed multiple outbuildings. Bladen County Schools is commenting on rumors about potential raids in the county by Immigration and Customs Enforcement. The school district says it is working with legal counsel to understand the implications of the new federal regulations on immigration and are developing protocols for school administrators and staff to help navigate a visit from ICE. As of now, the district has no knowledge of any actions by ICE involving schools in Bladen County. New Hanover County commissioners have started working on their 2026 budget, and one commissioner wants to eliminate an entire department from the budget. During the commissioners' meeting last week, the board discussed a request from the New Hanover County Commission on African American History, Heritage, and Culture to declare January 21st as a National Day of Racial Healing. Commissioners voted 4-1 in favor of the request. The one commissioner who voted against it was Dane Scalise. He read from a prepared statement about his issues with both the proclamation and the county's Office of Diversity and Equity. Scalise says the office and its policies have negatively affected the county and that he will not support any more similar proclamations and suggested policies.
We have gone far afield of what we should be focused on and are losing sight of our primary responsibilities to our citizens. We should not allow a race-based and legally dubious ideology to yield the power of the county. As such, moving forward, I plan to vote no on all such proclamations and resolutions that are not directly related to the county's most fundamental work.
We reached out to Scalise today, but he declined to speak. You can find the full statement from New Hanover County on our website with this story at wwaytv3.com. The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers plans to host a public meeting to discuss a project to deepen the harbor in the Cape Fear River to a depth of 47 feet. The Corps is partnering with the North Carolina State Ports Authority for the Wilmington Harbor 403 Letter, Report, and Environmental Impact Statement. The public meeting will be on February 13th at the Brigade campus of the Boys and Girls Club of Southeastern North Carolina, which is on Van Street in Wilmington. That meeting will run from 7 to 8 that evening. Every 2 seconds in the U.S., someone needs blood. In Wrightsville Beach, lots of people rolled up their sleeves for a blood drive today, hosted by the town's police and fire departments. Workers and volunteers with the American Red Cross were there collecting blood donations. Stephen Edgerton is a donor with O negative blood. Over the years, he's donated a total of 4 gallons of blood.
Hurricane out western part of the state, and I gave a pint of blood for that, and now we've got the stuff going on in California. I give a pint for that. You know, I can't give a whole lot of money, but I can give blood. I mean, I rebuild blood all the time.
Approximately 29,000 units of red blood cells are needed every day in the U.S. And if you'd like to donate, American Legion Post 68 will be hosting a blood drive at WWA's Event Center in Leland tomorrow. Organizers say the nation faces the lowest number of people giving blood in 20 years. When fewer people donate blood, even small disruptions to blood donations, like recent weather systems, can have a huge effect on those in need of emergency blood transfusions. You can donate blood tomorrow from 10 a.m. to 2:30 in the afternoon at the WWAY Event Center located at 1224 Magnolia Village Way in Leland. Ahead on WWAY News at 11, we'll tell you about a proposed entertainment complex coming to Wilmington with a big focus on America's fastest growing sport. And a new shopping center is coming to one of Brunswick County's fastest growing areas.
And tomorrow, the last day of January, is going to be unseasonably warm over the Cape Fear. Breezy winds with a mixture of sunshine and cloudiness. Highs will get into the 70s inland with upper 60s along the coastline. But we do have some showers and then pleasant weekend weather. More on that coming up.
Now, here's Chief Meteorologist Lee Haywood with your Storm Track 3 forecast.
Temperatures were nice and pleasant today across the Cape Fear. We had plenty of sunshine as we woke up. This afternoon, we started to see the clouds roll in. It was a cold start to the morning, 35 degrees, and we got to 62 this afternoon. And let's talk about 3-degree guarantee, the nonprofit for the month of January, New Hanover Humane Society. And today's forecast was 60. We got to 62, so that adds $20 more in. We are now $360. And last day of January, how about this? 74 degrees. It is going to be unseasonably warm out there tomorrow. Enjoy that, and we'll keep these warm temperatures going for a while. I think next 7 days, each and every day will be above average. Tomorrow's jet stream flow shows a ridge of high pressure bringing in those warmer temperatures of the Cape Fear. There'll be a brief little change as we head into the day. Saturday and Sunday won't quite be in the 70s. We'll cool things down into the 60s, but that is still above average for this time of year, and I suspect we will have a very nice weekend of weather after some showers move in Friday night. So 74 tomorrow, 66 mainly sunny on Saturday, low 60s on Sunday, and how about this? Back up to 71 degrees on Monday, and we'll have 70s for at least 3 out of the next 4 days when we get into next week. Radar right now shows no precipitation across the area. We're rain-free. We'll keep things rain-free tonight and tomorrow. Wanted to show you that you really don't need the umbrella tomorrow. We're going to see a mixture of sunshine and cloudiness, but it's tomorrow night where those showers begin to move in during the evening, 7 o'clock to 9 o'clock. Dramatic increase in the chance for wet weather, peaking between about 9 o'clock and then 3 a.m. Then I think the precipitation begins to taper off between about 4 and 6 o'clock, and then the daybreak comes and all of that wet weather's out to sea. 46 degrees. The temperatures have actually risen 2 degrees in the past hour. We expected to see a warm front pass through the area, and that means the temperatures will start to rise as we get into the overnight. Dew point is 42, wind is calm. And let's take a look at the current weather map, and it shows that warm front line right up into the Cape Fear at this hour, and it's going to be moving to the north, allowing that warmer air to flow in. Right now, skies are mostly cloudy across the area. Here's the cold front's going to be moving into our region as we head into tomorrow night. Even a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings in portions of Mississippi. Not expecting any thunderstorms tomorrow night, but we will get some showers as we head into your Friday night. Now, I mentioned the temperatures rising overnight. Skies will be partly to mostly cloudy, and you can see from the 40s to the mid-50s by the time you head out the door in the morning, and then quickly shooting up into the low 70s for the afternoon. Matter of fact, I bumped the high temperatures a few degrees for our inland friends. Upper 70s back in Elizabethtown, Bladenboro, also in White Oak. 74 Wilmington, upper 60s to about 70 on the shoreline. So a very warm wrap of the work and school week. Now let's quickly show you the future cast because we're going to be dry with sun and clouds tomorrow. Here comes the wet weather as we get into your Friday night. That front passes right on through the region, and then that improves things heading into the weekend. WWAY Storm Track 3 7-day forecast shows that we're going to be seeing some nice and pleasant temperatures. Old man winter has packed his bags and it has moved back north, and I think a lot of folks are happy about that. A lot of 70s on that 7-day forecast, and the rest of the days are above average in the 60s. One little batch of showers tomorrow night, then a great weekend for you, Jeff.
All right, so you're convinced old man winter is gone?
For the time being. Now, old man winter could make a visit in February. We'll have to wait and see how it goes. Next 7 days, he's out of here.
All right, we will enjoy that. Lee, thank you. Wilmington's first ever social district will be in effect for part of this weekend in the Brooklyn Arts District. Last week, City Council gave the green light to a pilot program for 3 Saturdays in February. You'll be able to enjoy beer, wine, and cocktails from participating businesses between noon and 5 while exploring the district. Beverages must be purchased from participating businesses. They'll be placed in branded recyclable cups. Drinks must be consumed within the designated district boundaries, which will be clearly marked. It's illegal to bring in outside drinks from one bar to another. We've got the full list of participating businesses on our website at wwaytv3.com. And in tonight's poll, we're asking, do you plan to take part in Wilmington's Social District Pilot Program, which kicks off this weekend? Right now, 6% of you say definitely, 10% say maybe, and 84% say no. Thanks to everyone who voted this evening. If you'd like to vote, just scan the QR code on the top of your screen or head to our website. A new indoor recreation and entertainment complex could be coming to a busy area of Wilmington. The proposed 2-story, 40,000 square foot facility would have an arcade, bowling alley, restaurant and bar, and several pickleball courts. The project will also include a multi-use path along Park Avenue and sidewalks along Oleander Drive to keep pedestrians safe from traffic. The proposal will be presented to City Council at their next meeting, which is scheduled for Tuesday. In Brunswick County, the town of Leland says plans for a new shopping center have been submitted. The new shopping center would be located in an area along U.S. Highway 17 near Landvale Road. It will be called the Shops at Savannah Branch. The plans include a 50,000 square foot grocery store, but it's not clear which grocery store chain will be coming at this point. Coming up on your news at 11, 3 different confirmation hearings on Capitol Hill today as lawmakers question President Donald Trump's cabinet picks. A busy Capitol Hill hosted confirmation hearings for 3 of President Trump's nominees, as Meg Oliver reports. It included another day of grilling for Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and his push to become the nation's health secretary.
The Senate Health Committee's top Republican said he's struggling with Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s nomination.
That's my dilemma, man.
Senator Bill Cassidy is a physician and says he's concerned by Kennedy's misleading arguments about vaccines.
If you come out unequivocally, vaccines are safe, it does not cause autism, that would have an incredible impact.
But earlier, Kennedy said he'd first have to see the data.
If you show me data, I will be the first person to assure the American people that they need to take those vaccines.
Tulsi Gabbard asked senators to confirm her as Director of National Intelligence and defended her position on Russia.
I want to make certain that in no way does Russia get a pass in either your mind or your heart, or in any policy recommendation you would make or not make.
Senator, I'm offended by the question because my sole focus, commitment, and responsibility is about our own nation.
Trump loyalist Kash Patel faced questions on his nomination to lead the FBI.
And I've never once advocated for political violence or violence against law enforcement.
Democrats called his statements about January 6 defendants disqualifying.
I'm talking about his characterization of criminals who assaulted police officers as political prisoners.
While his nominees make their case to Congress, President Trump returned to a campaign theme, instructing schools to promote a patriotic education. An executive order threatens to withhold funding from schools that teach about gender ideology or critical race theory.
That was Meg Oliver reporting. If Democrats remain united in their opposition, Kennedy can only lose 3 Republican votes to still be confirmed. Sports is next on WWAY News at 11. Playing mind games will introduce you to a teen who wants to get into the heads of his opponents long after they've graduated.
WWAY Sports brought to you by Hughes Brothers Tire and Auto.
Unusual betting patterns surrounding the play of former Charlotte Hornets guard Terry Rozier in a game nearly 2 years ago are now under investigation by federal prosecutors. The game involving Rozier that is in question was a matchup between the Hornets and the New Orleans Pelicans. Rozier played in the first quarter of the game but did not finish the game after he said he injured his foot. Posts that are still online show some bettors turned to social media to say that something shady had gone on regarding the prop bets involving his stats for that night. The NBA said it looked into the matter at the time and did not find that any league rules were broken. This weekend, one of the biggest rivalries in college basketball resumes. The Duke Blue Devils, the number 2 team in the country, will host the North Carolina Tar Heels. Today, both head coaches talked about how their teams are preparing for the big game.
You know, the anticipation, the noise around it. You know, I'm not going to act like that's not there. That is. But that's also what you want to be in. The thing that can impact is your preparation, your focus. And so that's really, to me, what it comes down to as a player or as a coach. You're not approaching it differently. You just understand that there's different circumstances around it.
And at the end of the day, live with the results. But, you know, the way that we are preparing, the way that we're practicing for the game on Saturday is no different than our preparation for our game on Tuesday.
Tip-off for this Tobacco Road rivalry game will be on Saturday at 6:30 in the evening. This will be the 261st meeting between the 2 blue blood programs. North Carolina has the advantage in the all-time series, 144 to 117. Back in the Cape Fear, our student athlete of the week is tired of seeing mental health being such a prevalent issue among teens. Sam Stratman is a junior on West Brunswick's soccer team. He has a 4.17 GPA and is in the National Honor Society. He's also in the Key Club and the HOSA Club, which is dedicated to turning students into future health professionals. Stratman says his scholastic interest has peaked during his health science class he took earlier this year.
I want to be a psychiatrist or go somewhere near that type of career with kids going through teenage stuff with their head, with their mental state. I think that's always important. And I think it's important for them to get the help they need if they need that help. And it helps prevent stuff later in life and maybe keeps them off of a bad track.
If you know a student athlete like Sam worthy of mention, nominate one on our website at www.tv3.com/student-athlete. We're in for some nice weather this weekend. Up next, Lee's back. He's tracking when we could see a brief period of rain before those mild temps return.
And here's a check of that forecast. So today we were in the 60s. I think we're in the 70s. How about that for tomorrow? Last day of January, and we're talking about this warm up as we move into your TGIF. A partly cloudy sky for Friday. Starting the morning in the 50s, we get to 74 degrees heading into the afternoon. Saturday and Sunday, behind a weather system that brings us some scattered showers Friday night. Things are looking good. 66 on Saturday, low 60s on Sunday, and next week shows promise for temperatures as much as 5 to 10 degrees warmer than the average. So we're going to keep this warm weather going, Jeff. Think back to last week. It was so cold. We had days that didn't get out of the 30s. Now we're talking about 60s and 70s in your forecast.
Pretty impressive. Tomorrow morning, I'm getting all the plants in the garage, bringing them outside.
Bringing them out,
so
little
they can
rain.
soak up some of the sunshine.
Well, little rain tomorrow night, too. You got a little sun,
right.
little rain, mild temperature. You're going to make your plants so happy.
Yeah, all right. Thanks for joining us tonight. Be sure to join Tamika, Matt, and Matthew. And Good Morning Carolina tomorrow morning starting at 5:30. Good night.